Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Political Talk with JB. I am your host, Julian Boykin. And tonight I am joined by Mr. John Merrill, former Secretary of State for Alabama, who is a candidate for the Alabama Republican Party chair. John, how are we doing tonight?
Julian, doing great. Thank you so much for having me as your guest.
No problem. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and what has you campaigning for the Alabama Republican Party chair position.
Well, I grew up in a little town called Heflin, which is in Cleburne County. I was very involved in different things growing up. Um, in high school, I was president of the student body. I was an Eagle Scout. When I finished school there, after playing ball and basketball, baseball, football, all of those things, left home and went to the University of Alabama. I've been in Tuscaloosa since that time, since August of 1982. I did two congressional internships when I was a student at the university, working in Washington, D.C. I became involved in the Student Government Association at the university. I served two terms as a student senator in 1983 and 1984. 1985, I was elected as a vice president of the Student Government Association. And then Cindy and I got married that summer. So we've been married for 40 years since 1985, May the 11th, 1985. And then I was elected as president of the student body in 1986. So I served as student body president at the University of Alabama in 1986, 1987. Then I did an internship with the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama for a year, went to work at Randall Publishing Company, sold advertising. Then I went to the Industrial Development Authority, helped to recruit business and industry, and actually helped recruit Mercedes to come to Tuscaloosa County back in 1993. I was there from 1990 to 1993. Then I went back to the Chamber of Commerce. I worked there in 93 and 94 as Director of Business Development, helped our Mercedes families locate here and also find a way to matriculate into our society. December 1st, 1994, I started work at the Tuscaloosa County Board of Education, worked there till December 31st, 2010 for 16 years and 31 days. In November the 2nd, 2010, I was elected to the legislature, and I was serving the southern and eastern part of Tuscaloosa County as their state representative. Then I became the 53rd Secretary of State, January the 19th, 2015, served in that role until January the 16th, 2023. I'm the only Republican to serve two consecutive terms as the Secretary of State in the history of the state of Alabama.
So let's get right into it. We got a lot of issues in the Republican Party right now. Hot topic is this primary, the closed primaries. When it comes to that, where do you stand on closed primaries for the Republican Party?
Well, look, I think that one of the things we have to do is we have to ensure that each and every election cycle, as soon as the elections are over, we have to evaluate and assess the things that went well and the things that need to be improved on. And the things that need to be improved on need to be given attention. First, by the Office of the Secretary of State and the probate judges around the state. And then we need to make a list of those things. Our party needs to be a part of that discussion. When those things occur, they need to be advanced to the legislature, and then they need to be discussed, and they need to be codified if those changes are required. This is a very delicate topic. It impacts a lot of counties in a lot of different ways throughout the state of Alabama. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to make sure that we properly study this issue and see how it has impacted positively and negatively the surrounding states that have adopted this as a codification requirement to have a limited participation in our primaries. And then if there are changes that need to occur based on what the experience has been in the other states around us and the other states that have done this, then we need to address those. And then after that, we need to move forward in that discussion about how to properly codify it in the state of Alabama if that's the direction we need to go.
When we look at financial integrity, what are your thoughts on financial integrity as it relates for the party and reassuring the Alabama Republican Party voters and members that that is going to be a top priority.
Well, Julian, one of the things that has happened since John Wall became our chairman is we've raised a lot of money for the Republican Party, and we've spent a lot of money in the Republican Party. And one of the concerns that a number of people have is knowing where all that money has been spent. They want to know how it was raised and then what it was spent for. And I think one of the things that we have not done a good job of is making sure that our people understand those resources and how they have been used. So we need a full audit that will share with all of the members of the Republican Executive Committee how those monies have been spent and what they've been spent for. And anybody that wants to have access to that, that is an elected member of the State Republican Executive Committee, ought to have access to that information.
When we look at positive leadership, when we look at mentorship, especially right now, me being a millennial, I can see within the party there's a gap with old guard baby boomers versus new guard millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. There's a gap when it comes to mentorship and passing the gavel. How do we bridge that gap?
Well, look, Julian, we have a lot of 60, 70, and 80-year-olds that are running our party and have been running our party for a long time. But what we need to do is have those 60, 70, and 80-year-olds reach back and encourage 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds to get involved, but really to even go back to college and to go back to high school and to go back to elementary school and to encourage young people to become involved and to adopt a philosophy that they can be comfortable with, understanding what the Republican Party is all about, how they can become an integral part of the party, how they can become educated as to how the party started, what the party is all about, and what they can do to become involved, and how they can help move the party forward for this point forward.
How do we get our 67 counties? How do we get our 67 county chapters involved and incorporated when it comes to technology and being able
Well,
to
first of
use
all,
technology?
Julian, we have to know that we have 67 counties. And one of the things that I've done for the last 14 years in a row is to visit all 67 counties in the state of Alabama. I don't think that we can effectively um, really motivate the leadership in those counties if they never see anybody from the state party there. And that's one of the commitments that I have made, is that I will continue to visit all 67 counties at least one time a year. I also think that members of the staff for the Republican Party need to get out and go to the local sites for those local county executive committees and meet with the leadership there and meet with the general membership there, so that they know that they're not just looking for them when they come to the state party meetings twice a year. I think they need to have a conversation with those individuals and see what help the state party office can give, and to do it in a way that is unobtrusive, that does not look like you're trying to come in and tell them what to do. But when they're trying to fix a website, they're trying to have a Facebook page, they're trying to get a speaker to come to their community, they're trying to raise money for the party. All of those things are things that we need to be able to provide assistance with and support for at the local level in our 466 municipalities and our 67 counties.
Well said. What is your plan when it comes to creating a somewhat of a training program for members in the party as well as candidates that want to run for office?
Again, we have a number of people who have a lot of skills, who have a lot of ability to communicate with others and to help them understand about technology, who can help them understand what it means to be an effective candidate, who can help them understand what it means to be an effective consultant, who can help them understand how they can play a role in the Republican Party, but it does not necessarily have to be a starring role. Look, I don't know if you know of this song, but one of my favorite songs from Billy McCoo, Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. is "You Don't Have to Be a Star." And in saying that, you have to understand that, yeah, we have a quarterback, we have wideouts, we have running backs, we have an offensive line. We have a defensive line. We have linebackers. We have cornerbacks. But we also have a holder for the place kicker that is responsible for making sure that the place kicker can do his or her job. And I think it's important to make sure that everybody knows they can contribute in their own way. Let's find a way to contribute, and then let's do what we can to be a part of moving the party forward.
If anybody wants to get in contact with you, make a donation to your campaign, how can they get in how can they do so? How can they get in contact with you?
Well, they certainly can call me anytime on my cell phone at 334-328-2787. I've always had my cell phone number printed on my business card. I will continue to do that as party chairman. Anybody that wants to reach me is able to do it whenever it's important to them, not when it's convenient for me. And if they want to email me, they can do so at john@johnhmerrill.com, and then I'll respond to their inquiries.
Last question. Why should the people of Alabama vote for you as the next chair for the Republican Party?
I think I'm uniquely qualified to serve in this role, Julian, as a member of the Tuscaloosa County Republican Executive Committee, a rank and file member that became the secretary of the party, that then coordinated 10 successful Lincoln Reagan dinners, which we initiated, having guests come and speak at our dinners and raising thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of the guests that we have included, but we're not limited to, Governor Mitt Romney, Senator Richard Shelby, Governor Robert Bentley, Governor Haley Barbour, Karl Rove, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Trent Lott, Senator Jeff Sessions. We've had all kinds of people from all over the country come and be a part of what we've attempted to do in order to help grow our party and to move our party forward. And then after I served as chairman and a member of the State Republican Executive Committee, I became a member of the Alabama legislature, where I served with distinction for 4 years. I was named by the Sunlight Foundation as the most effective Republican member of the Alabama legislature between 2011 and 2014. Then when I was elected to become Alabama's 53rd Secretary of State, for the first time in the history of the state, Alabama was recognized as the #1 state in the union for election integrity, transparency, and accountability. That had never happened before, and it has not happened since. I think it's also important to know that we broke every record in the history of the state for voter registration and voter participation, and we removed more than 1.3 million voters from the voter rolls because those people moved away, they passed away, or they've been put away. We also had 8 convictions on voter fraud. And I was recognized by the Republican National Committee as being the chairman of the National Commission on Election Integrity after the 2020 election that caused a number of changes in state legislative bodies all across the United States and led to some changes in Congress, including what we now will be looking at as the SAVE Act, in order to improve election integrity, transparency, and accountability nationwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Merrill, candidate for chair of the Alabama Republican Party. John, thank you for your time. Best of luck to you in your campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know someone who's running for office, please have them get in contact with me, 256-701-0464. John, again, good to see you. Best of luck to the campaign.
Thank you, Julie. Always good to be with you.